So let's get this party going. My very good friend and Boba Fett from Bespin himself, Mr. John Morton. And everyone's favorite and dear good buddy, Mr. Stunt Boba Fett, and just awesome all-around stunt performer, Mr. Dickey Beers. That's mine. That's what I got. You're going to be here? And from the Book of Boba Fett, one of the new Boba Fetts, I'm excited to meet him. I've never got any chance to interview him before, so it's going to be real exciting. Mr. Eyad Elbitar. Was that Eyad? Was that bad? Eyad? Was that bad? It's okay. Can you say it for me, sir? Eyad. Eyad, yeah. I need to say it like 11 more times and I'll be good. Oh, I'm sorry, the buttons aren't on? Let's see what we got here.
Work. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Now that I'm here.
So, how are we all doing today? How are we all doing today, Mr. Beers?
I just said, I'm doing good.
You told him, you didn't tell him. Would you stop running the interview? Oh my God, you come here, the first thing you do.
I just came to say I was. That's why.
Yeah, yes, you said more than hi.
We're old friends. We know
But aren't we
each
old
other.
friends? I've known
Yeah.
you for like 10
We know
years.
the same thing.
We're
so-
buddies, and you and I.
Yeah. And
But-
John, of course, you know.
No, I'm Daniel Logan. You're confused. It's hard to keep all these Fetts together.
You don't look like Baby Fett, though.
Baby Fett.
There is a bunch
well,
of
I
you.
used to, but now I'm getting
Yeah.
rather elderly. I'm elderly Fett.
And our newest Fett, how do you feel, sir, about Mr. Elbitar, about being joining this group of Boba Fetts?
Feels great, man, to be part of this success. You know, it's an honor.
And then I've seen you guys tour. I've seen with obviously with Jeremy, who we lost a
Yeah,
couple years
yeah,
ago,
God bless.
and then and with Daniel, and now with Tem. Tem is now part of the.
Yep.
He was part of the Fett group, but now he's part of the Boba Fett group.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of us. You know, we've appeared. Don Bies.
Don Beast, yeah, he
Don
did Boba
Beast,
Fett and Return of the Jedi's special edition.
Yeah. We're all going to be gathering out in Fullerton, California next month at Bunta Eve.
Oh, you're part of that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So why don't we start with the history of the Fett? How did you get involved? And tell everybody your story, your Boba Fett story.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't want to take up too much time because it's rather complex. And
This is a Boba Fett panel.
this is the Boba Fett panel. Okay. Well, I was cast as one of the rebel pilots in Empire Strikes Back, and I was on a 2-day contract on a daily rate, which was very generous, and ended up working on it for 4 weeks. And so they were paying me to stand around a lot. I'd worked with the first, second, and third assistants in about 3 or 4 films, depending on how you want to count it. So they knew I was sort of a team player. It turned out that Jeremy was called off to do another film that he was contracted to do, and they were stuck on having somebody cover for Jeremy for those 2 days. So they approached me as this team player who was about Jeremy's size and asked me to cover for this character he was playing, Boba Fett. I knew nothing about Boba Fett. And George and Gary Kurtz and Irving Kershner didn't say anything to me about how they wanted this character played. So the night before Jeremy took off, he was in his dressing room. I went to see him and I said, hey, you know, what's my motivation going to be in this? You know, who is this character? And Jeremy said very, very succinctly, well, think Clint Eastwood, a fistful of dollars, play everything slow and menacing. And so that's how I covered that for him. And so I was in that one scene where Boba says to Vader, he's no good to me, dead. And I did exactly what Jeremy told me to do, and the rest is history. That's how it happened.
I always thought it was interesting how you did that, because I never knew there was 2 gentlemen playing Boba Fett when I was a kid, even well into my adulthood, because Jeremy would hold it with his hand off the trigger, like you're supposed to carry a gun,
Yeah.
and so did you. So I always thought it was the same person. You guys both had that military discipline of holding a rifle.
Well,
as a
yeah.
veteran, that's just something I picked up on.
Yeah, I mean, I had a military background. I was in the Navy. And, you know, Kevin, that's the first time I've ever heard that. I don't remember consciously doing that. What I
watch
do
it.
remember,
Watch Empire in the carbon freezing chamber, and then watch your part in the hallway. You guys hold the gun the same exact way. You never would see it. So I assumed
Yeah.
you must have seen dailies of what he did and copied it.
no.
But it was just
No.
I'm not sure how.
I will tell you something very interesting that you will appreciate. That piece, the blaster, was the worst designed weapon that you could possibly imagine. The one thing people always ask me, well, how did you feel about the armor? Was it uncomfortable? Was it heavy and all that kind of thing? And I don't have much recollection. Dickey obviously will have a lot to say about the armor because he was doing stunts with it. In my case, I just remember my bicep on my left arm was just shredded after the day because the piece was so out of balance, Kevin. The stock was just, you know, and I was holding it for take after take after take, and it would not have been a very good combat piece because it was just unbalanced. I mean, and the reason why is that the piece was an adapted World War I flare gun, and the metal was so heavy, but the actual butt was so light. So I mean, I was having to do this all the time, and that's the one thing I actually remember about the props, the costume, and all the rest of it was just the weight of, you know, the gun, you know, the blaster.
The blaster.
Yeah, the blaster. Yeah, or as we would say, the piece.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
got
Dickey,
it.
what's your story of first getting into the Boba Fett armor, or anything you can remember from that?
I was never meant to be Boba Fett, but when we came to America in Yuma, Arizona, and we started rehearsing the whole scene about the Sarlacc pit, and stunt guys had to fall into it and roll into the pit. We were rehearsing that. During the rehearsals, a bunch of guys got hurt. I think a total of about 5 people ended up in hospital with broken legs and arms and limbs and God knows what. And so when we started filming, we were running out of stunt people. And then the stunt coordinator, Glenn Randall, he got into the Boba Fett outfit, and he started the flying scene from the barge to the skiff. And he realized that eventually he had to do the fall onto the pit, and he didn't like the fact that he could get hurt. So he looked around, and him and I were not friends, and he looked at me and he went like, "You go and put that blue costume on," and that's how I became Boba Fett. And I did the whole scene around the skiffs. I got hit by Harrison, what's his name?
Han Solo.
Han Solo. And that's why I flew from the skiff to the barge, hit the side of the barge, eventually fell onto the pit and rolled into the pit. And I did not do the dialogue when he went in there, so that was somebody else. And I didn't have the problem that John had with the weapons, because what we were wearing was all breakaway and lightweight. So
It has to be lightweight because
yeah,
of stunt work. Okay.
exactly. And even when you look at the scene and you see me hitting the side of the barge, if you look good at it and you freeze frames, you will see that the jetpack actually compresses because it was made out of foam. And
Okay.
a lot of people don't know that, but if you watch it, you can actually see it. It compresses because, you know, we could not wear it because it would break. They didn't worry about us being hurt, but we didn't want to break the jetpack.
Right. And how many times did you have to do that stunt? Did you have to do it more than once?
I can't remember how many times, but as per usual, they do a number of takes, and normally they always use first one, because the first one is the best one, because
You're not banged up.
you know, you don't know what's going to happen, so the reactions are normally the best for the first one. every take after, you know what's going to happen, so you know you're going to get ready for it, and it doesn't look as good as take number one. But we did it a number of times, yeah.
Right now, there were snakes there.
Snakes, and well, that was the thing about falling into the pit. Inside the pit, there's a huge airbag, and we were falling into this airbag.
An airbag?
An
Okay.
airbag, the stunt airbag. It was like a square room, a square box in the middle of the set where the airbag was. And then when you fell into the pit, you fell onto the airbag, and then they deflated the airbag, and then you walk out of the room, you go back up, and you do it again. But the thing was, it was the only cool spot around there, because it was
You're in the
dead
desert,
center.
yeah.
So that's where the creepy crawlies went, like snakes, rattlesnakes, and scorpions, and
yeah.
you name it. It was all there. So it wasn't even about falling in. It was the aftermath, because you had to really watch it, that you wouldn't step on a damn snake that could bite you, you know.
Right now, does Julius LaFleur have a panel, Bob? He's Julius LaFleur. So he's a stunt guy. I remember I interviewed him one time, and he was talking about how you said they were going through so many of them. He ended up being like 7 or 12 different characters jumping in there. So he was repeatedly jumping in all day long with you.
No, I was only in that particular
No,
scene.
he was. I'm saying he in between you and him doing it, but he had to do it so many times because so many people were breaking their arms and breaking their
Right,
legs.
yeah.
Once you do that, you can't do it a second time, obviously. So they're off the set,
Yeah.
and he had to put on their costume and jump in. So almost every time you see someone falling in there that's not Boba Fett, it's Julius.
Julius did it. He did the fall into the pit when he was doubling for Billy Dean.
Right.
That was one of them. That's where he got hurt, actually. And he also did it as a weak way, but he did a running fall into it. And I did it from the skiff straight into the hole as different characters.
Did you do Weequays? That's one of my favorite aliens. I love Weequays. I don't know what it is. You ever pick a Star Wars character you just love? I love Weequays. Something about the bald.
Yeah, I did a weak way as well.
Oh, awesome.
I never took the credit for it because it was somebody else's role, and he couldn't do the fall because nobody dared to do the fall from the skiff straight into the hole, other than myself and Alf Joint. Alf Joint was the other one who used to do it,
Okay, cool.
and all the other guys had to roll down the slope and then slide in or rolled in or being pulled in by those things, you know.
Okay, excellent. And
Julius was a really hot gymnast, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Julius, he was actually forced to do the fall into it.
he was what?
He was forced to do that fall. He never rehearsed it. He never
Forced
worked it out.
contractually, or they pushed him in?
No, forced by people told him you got to do this, and
Contractually, okay.
and that's it. Yeah.
All right, sir. And on the end, what's your how did your Boba Fett story begin?
Well, I've been a stuntman for more than 20 years, so we get calls like, hey, are you available to double an actor? Okay. So I got this call, but it was a little weird because the call was, send me a selfie without your shirt on. And
I get that all the time, yeah.
And I'm like, and I thought it's a prank because we do this. Dickey knows that. Stunt people always prank each other. And I knew the coordinators from before. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, send it now. So, okay. So I took a shirt off, told my wife, take a picture, let's send it. She was like, what kind of movie are you doing? I was like, I don't know. We'll find out. So then they call me and say, go to fitting. So I go to fitting, and they get me in the room, and I go, and I'm looking. I'm like, where's the clothes? They only have a piece of underwear. I'm like, is this for real going on here? It was like, so I looked, and I'm like, I went outside. It's like, there's nothing to wear. There's nothing but, it's like, this is the underwear. I said, where's the other? It's like, this is it. It's like, why are you giving me underwear? It's like, this is your wardrobe. I'm like, okay, so put it on, and then I find out that there was the first scene when he's in a tank. So they brought me in because I'm a scuba certified, and they wanted somebody who's scuba certified to be in the tank. But then when I got there, they had in mind somebody else to double him, but when I got there and they saw me immediately and say, this guy's a perfect double for the guy, so why? So they asked me for at that point, I did not know it's Boba Fett. They call him Buddy, and I was supposed to be
Buddy?
Buddy's stunt double. and the show was Buccaneer. So I'm like,
Buccaneer?
Yeah. But when I walked in, I knew it has something to do with Star Wars because it was the same studio from Mandalorian, and I worked in a Mandalorian as a trooper. So I'm like, okay, this is maybe season 3 or something. But then, the coordinator came in and he showed me some previous, like a CGI previous of him being thrown around in that room, and it's concrete and hardwood and in underwear. And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, probably not. I'm like thinking like, why would I want to be thrown around in concrete? Like, I've been doing it for 20 years. This is maybe for somebody who just started and want to prove himself. Right. I did not need that. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. I'll think about it now. So I'm leaving, and a second unit director or a stunt coordinator who's like a close friend to me, and he helped me a lot in my career through the years, called me up and he said, hey, I told him you are doing it, so make me look good. I'm like, did they really call you? He was like, yes. And I thought, again, I'm like, this is not real. So I go the next day to the set, the coordinator comes in and is like, he say you're doing it, you're in. And I'm like, let me see that thing again. And I look like, this is gonna be painful. So I did the fight when he gets pulled out of the tank, and that was like the most painful fight for me because I've never been so bruised in my life for 2 weeks, just like hitting
You had a Wookiee picking you up and smashing you around.
Every side of that room, concrete, hardwood, and they like hit it harder, run and hit it harder. I'm like,
you're not bleeding enough. You're not bleeding enough. You know.
It's so funny saying bleeding because my knee started to bleed a little bit, and I went and found a like small bandage this big, and I put it. And as soon as I walked in, he was like, "Oh, what is that in your knee?" I'm like, "You seeing this?" He's like, "Take it off." I'm like, "I'm bleeding. You're gonna see the blood." He's like, "No, take it off. We're seeing it." So yeah.
So you're saying that that's not acting. That's your actual blood on your knees. If you see it
I was so bruised to the point. The makeup people went to the director and asked him if they can actually make fake bruises to the real actor because it's like we can't cover his bruises. It's showing so much right now. I'm just everywhere, my shoulders, my legs, and they say don't worry about it. And they were like matching it up, put makeup on it and stuff. And I did the fight, and then they came to me. It's like we need you to double him for the whole show. At that point, I still don't even know what's going on. Like, okay, I'm like up. About 2 months fast forward before I got in the suit. This is right when I was doing fight the sand monsters, all that stuff. And one of the crew people brought me a book and he's like, "Can you sign this for me?" And I'm looking and I see a guy and I'm like, "What is this?" Like, "You don't know who you are?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Dude, you like the superhero of my childhood." He's like, "You need to go watch Star Wars." And I never watched Star Wars before. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry. They're good people.
Yeah. So I went and I watched it, and I told my wife, let's watch it, see what's going on. Something is up with this. And we watched it. I didn't know, because it was like really a short piece, the Boba Fett, in the previous ones. Like, it wasn't like a big...
He wasn't Darth Vader, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And then after that, I figured it out, and I ended up being his double for 7 months.
That's fantastic. It's a great... What's... hanging out with Tim, isn't he not the funnest person in the world, Tim Morrison?
Tim?
Yeah, I know you've met him, John. He's just a great guy.
He's the most humble actor I ever doubled, honestly. The first day I walked in, he came up to me, he's like, "I'm so happy to see you here. I need you. Great to have you." And
right,
he was
so
just
generous. Yeah.
He appreciated me being there more than me appreciating being at the job. Like, he was so, and he was actually motivated too. He wasn't like that kind of actor, like, "Hey, I'll be in my room, let me know when you guys need me." So he was always there, like he's ready, like to be involved. So great guy. I end up doubling him in different shows after that. We have a good relationship now.
Excellent. Dickey, you got something to say?
No, I just wanted to say, like, I worked with Tamura on a movie in Thailand before the whole Star Wars thing he did. And that guy is like absolutely amazing. I mean, if he would not be an actor, he would be a stunt guy. Mm-hmm. That's how tough he is. Like, I did a fight with him, and he had to headbutt himself into some stuff, and I put like foam pads in there, and he took them out. He said, "No, I want to do it the right thing." So he headbutted himself and cut his head open, and never said anything about it. And I went
Just
like,
just out of curiosity, what movie in Thailand?
the movie was called Marine Stew, The Marine Stew,
Okay.
with one of the WWE fighters was playing the lead role in it.
The reason I asked is because he did another movie. I think it was in Thailand, and it was 7 days and nights and whatever. It was with Harrison Ford. So
Yeah.
it's just, and it's before he was cast as Jango
Right.
Fett. So it was so weird to have Boba Fett and,
Yeah.
and Han Solo in this movie that took place in Thailand. But
Yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Have you got a story about Tim? You had dinner with him once. I remember that because in Germany. In
Well,
celebration.
you'll remember there was a panel that Warwick Davis compared, and it was the four Fets, and it was a big deal. The big hall where they had some of the big, high-profile panels seated about 7,000 people. And there were about 7,000 people in this huge,
It's an arena.
arena, sports arena. And Dickey and I and Daniel Logan.
And Jeremy came out.
And Jeremy,
what was he wearing?
He was in his uniform. And
He was dressed as Boba Fett. Jeremy Bullock came out dressed as Boba
Yeah.
Fett, and the audience, myself included, went wild. We were like, "Oh my God!"
So there we all were doing this sort of, interview with Warwick, and then in the end, suddenly from the audience, Tim Morrison shows up, and Tim being Maori and Daniel Logan being Maori, decided to do a haka.
To do the dance.
Yeah, this sort of stuff, And, it is available. Somebody took a shot of it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. You could probably look up Fett Panel Celebration Europe 2013.
And so there were the four Fets plus Django and Warwick Davis doing this haka. And the fans are going crazy. It was just amazing.
With Jeremy dressed as Boba Fett.
with
That was just
Jeremy
great.
dressed as Boba Fett. And
Tamura, he started it.
yeah, Tamara started it all, but he and Daniel kind of were really in character because it was part of their culture. That was fascinating. It was really, really fun.
But we are going to have an opportunity to have questions from the audience. I don't know, did anybody have questions? And what we're going to do is, well, you're here. You work for the company. You're going to hold the microphone for them, okay? Can you do that? But before we get to this, excuse me? We only have 4 mics, not 5. It's okay. I'm going to pass you this one because I'm done talking. How about that? After this question here. But so in a couple minutes, we're going to open up to you guys, and Mr. Bobby here is going to monitor the mic. But I thought I'd ask each one of you, since our favorite movie, for the most part here, is Star Wars, or one of the StarArs films. And I wanted to know each one of you guys, what's your favorite film? Do you guys, it doesn't have to be Actually, let's make it like a non-Star Wars film so you don't feel like you're portraying the business. So outside of the Star Wars Lucasfilm world, what would be each of your favorite films? And John, we'll start with you.
You mean, the films that we were in?
No, just the films that you like, something you're a fan of. I guess you could pick your own film, but man, that sounds really bad. That would be like...
All right. Well, I'm the old guy here. I have to say the film that I've seen the most in my life is Casablanca.
All right, there you go.
That's my film, baby.
Humphrey Bogart, World War II. That's a great film.
Yeah.
My favorite movie, Clockwork Orange.
That makes so much sense. I'm sorry.
You got to know Dickey to get that one.
I know, but
I know. That's exactly why.
But that movie was way ahead of its time. That's what I like so much about it. It was unheard of what happened in that movie. The whole thing.
I saw the movie in the 90s, and it was shocking, and it was already 20 years old at that time.
Yeah.
I think it came out, 72?
But it's my favorite, yeah.
And you know who played Julian, right? You know who played Julian in that movie, right?
Yeah, no.
It was David Prowse,
No,
Darth Vader.
I was not in there.
No. The character of Julian was played by David Prowse.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, of course. On the end, what about your favorite movie, sir?
It sounds weird, but I don't watch movies or TVs. I don't even own a TV.
Okay. It's not surprising. You're not the first person. I asked that one time to Alan Fernandez, one of the Tuscan Raiders from A New Hope, and we were in Hollywood, and I asked him what his favorite movie was. His answer was worse. He was more like, I hate movies. They're a waste of time. There's an audience full of people in Hollywood to see a convention about movies, but that's okay.
I don't want to say I hate them, but To me, it's a waste of time.
Okay, that's the same answer I got. Okay, that's now two people that have said that. All right, how about favorite band? Give me a favorite band.
Band?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm like Metallica.
Oh, excellent. There you go.
What do you say?
Metallica.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, I will just go the whole way now. Dickey, do you have a favorite band? You could pick any kind of music.
No band, no.
Oh God, you hate movies. He hates music.
No, I'm a singer.
Private singer?
Billy?
Billy Idol?
Yeah.
Really, Billy Idol? Not Billy Joel.
No, Billy Eilish.
Billy Idol. Microphone comes up by the way.
Billy Eilish.
Billie Eilish, the girl.
The girl, yeah.
Really? Wow. How modern are you?
I sort of, I'm not into music, but I saw a documentary on her.
Okay.
And after that document, I was so impressed with the way she is and the way she works.
She's
and the way
cool,
she
I
does
guess,
it.
yeah.
Then I bought her album and I started listening to it. And
Can you sing the song? Sing it.
Huh?
Sing it.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate
you're
it.
not gonna say.
Yeah. But yeah, that's her.
John, what about you?
The Grateful Dead. I have a Dickey Beer story which relates. He says he's not into music. Oh gosh, give me a break.
Okay.
So we're at the New York Comic Con, and we go out to dinner in the East Village somewhere, and we get a cab on the way home, and the cabbie's a guy from West Africa. And look, I'm very into music. If anybody follows me on Facebook, they know that 2 or 3 times a day I'm posting, music videos and commenting on them. This guy had some African, pop on, and so I start talking to him, Osabisa, Angelique Kidjo, Ali Farka Touré, and he goes, oh yeah. And so he does a little fiddle with the radio, or it wasn't a radio, I guess it was his CD player or something. And suddenly one of these songs comes on, which it's Ali Farka Touré's Son. And suddenly from the back, Dickey is, hey, turn that up, man. and all the way back to our hotel, Dickey is raving about this Afro-pop by Ali Farka Touré's son. Ali Farka Touré is from Niger. Ry Cooder did a piece with him many years ago. But Dickey Beer was just, went fanboy crazy.
So we're gonna have to look this up afterwards. We're recording this, right? So we can all go back on YouTube, watch this, so we can all find out what band this is. 'Cause I'm totally gonna forget the name. But and if anybody's asking my favorite band, I'm with you. My favorite band is Black Sabbath. So I'm kind of close. Metallica, Black Sabbath. But so we're gonna. Anybody here have a question? You want to show of hands? Anybody here who's? Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. You, Explorer. Come on, you got a question. Oh, right there. Pink shirt. I hope that's pink.
It is salmon.
Simone.
Is there a height requirement for Boba Fett?
What?
A height requirement. I'm sitting here looking at you gentlemen, and you are very much the same height.
Anywhere between 5'8" and 5'9", I think it was, somewhere around there. How tall are you?
Well, I used to be 5'10".
He shrunk.
Say what I am now.
You shrunk, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's 5'10" because I'm 5'10".
You 5'10"?
Any other questions? Yes?
I'm 5'11" with heels.
Did any of you get to keep any of the props that you got to use in the movies, or did some of them find their way into your bag on the way home or anything like that?
They will murder us before we take anything out. I couldn't even leave the set with the helmet in my hand. As soon as they call cut, they take everything from you.
I
Yeah,
was
the-
too stupid, naive, and honest.
Yes, I did, but I can't tell you.
Eventually, I will say this. I kept all my call sheets, and I understand that they're quite valuable, but they're packed away in a trunk at my house in England, and I don't know if I'll ever find them, but I suppose after I fall off the perch, my daughters will sell them and make a lot of money. So the call sheets are almost as valuable, I guess.
You know, they stopped giving call sheets after. When I did the Book of Boba Fett, no call sheet. They never even email it.
So they don't want you to make money off of your call sheets?
And even the little script when they give it to you, every day they have a note on it and a shredder. Before you leave, you have to shred it before you leave.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
terrible.
they're going crazy about that kind of stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
Also, to the point of those questions, you'll notice there's 2 empty seats in the Boba Fett panel. So those are the 2 unnamed missing Bobas that tried to take stuff off set, obviously. You know. Do we have any other questions?
It comes with jokes in my panel. It comes with jokes. There you go.
Where was that hand at?
Right there.
I have to go around the camera.
So, will we be seeing you in a Mando Grogu movie anytime soon?
Me?
I think he's asked the guy.
I think that's for any of you, really.
I'd love to hear his answer.
What was the question?
He wants to know if we're going to see you in a
In
Mandalorian.
the Mando and Grogu movie, will you be, stunt doubling for anyone in particular?
I've signed too many NDAs. I've signed too many NDAs.
Next question. Actually, we need that in the mic.
What do you collect?
I've done it now.
I collect money.
And call sheets.
What do you collect?
Well, actually, I do collect on sort of a serendipitous way. When I go to a convention and I'm cruising around the vendor things, I'm always frequently find really excellent creative work on Boba Fett by artists and what have you. So those kind of quirky things I'm really interested in, but I think the artwork. There's an outfit called Acme Archive in California that has excellent Star Wars stuff that's really quite unique. One which I remember in particular, which I actually didn't collect, was a rendition of Boba Fett as a riverboat gambler. And his blaster is a little Derringer, and he's got this top hat and, dressed up, like some character out of the 1840s on the Mississippi River. Those kind of interpretive things are pretty good. But this guy actually has a piece of that I really liked, and I've got, which is one of your patches, and it's got the Guinness logo.
Oh, yeah.
With Alec Guinness on it, and how does it read? It just says Guinness is
It's the Guinness
good.
logo, and it just says it's real cheap. It just says Guinness like the Guinness logo. But
It doesn't matter if it's cheap. It's a really good
It's fine, everyone
work.
sell it.
It's a work of art, and
Thank you.
yeah, no, it's a good one, Kevin.
They're for sale here. Anybody cares?
My favorite piece is the Guinness glass that he sells at his booth. That's my personal favorite.
Fired from promoting it, but I do appreciate it.
Actually, that one I almost bought from you in Dover. Oh, you will?
Dover, I got a limited number here. I'm 2,000 miles from my house. Dover's an hour drive.
Oh, okay, all right. But yeah, there's good work there.
We have another question, but Dickey looks like he has something
No,
to say.
I started collecting stuff. Same here. The art. A lot of people make beautiful Boba Fett art,
Yeah.
and a lot of people give it to me for free.
Yep.
So I started collecting them, and now my man cave is all covered with. All the walls are covered with that. Plus the fact that I started collecting helmets like Boba Fett, the Return of the Jedi, the Empire Strikes Back, because they're 2 different ones. I got the prototype. I got a Stormtrooper helmet. All replicas. But yeah, I started collecting quite a bit of stuff. And I don't know if you're familiar with this company that makes props. Showtime. Showtime is called. Sideshow.
No,
Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of stuff from Sideshow because they give it to me or they send it to me to see what I think about it, and obviously I'll keep it.
What about you, Did you ever do any collecting?
No.
He collects that paycheck, though. And also, it needs to be said, the only people who haven't seen Star Wars are the people who are in Star Wars because they lived the Star Wars. Thank you, Marshall.
One last question.
Yeah, this is just a general stunt work question. We heard about your bad experience, but I just want to know from the panel, what is your favorite stunt that you ever got to do in any movie?
Favorite stunt?
Favorite stunt of all the stunts you've done, do you have a favorite?
No. I don't have any favorite stunts. And people ask me what's the most dangerous thing that you've ever done? I don't think that what we are doing is dangerous, but there is one thing that I'm most proud of, and that's the first time that I did a 100-foot fall into an airbag. And the way that happened was I built my own airbag and I started teaching myself how to do falls into an airbag. And the place I did that was a fire station, practice tower that they have at a fire station. And that particular practice tower was 60 feet high. So the highest I've done in 2 days was 60 feet, and I did 44 face-off, head first, backwards, sideways. I was just teaching myself how to do it. Anyway, I'm still young and cocky and thinking that I'm the best thing since sliced bread as a young, new stuntman. And then I'm happy with what I achieved, teaching myself how to do these high falls into that airbag. Then 3 weeks later, I got a call from somebody, and he said, we want somebody to do a fall of this church tower back in the Netherlands. And it's not for a movie, it's for the promotion of a book. And the book is about this character in centuries ago that jumped off this church tower to save all the people in his village. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll come and have a look and see if I can do it. So I went up there, went to this church tower where the real thing happened a long time ago. And I'm standing downstairs. I can't get in there because the doors were closed, so I could not look at the tower from the top to the ground. So I looked up and I went oh yeah, it's a little bit higher than the 60 feet that I've done so far, but yeah, I should be okay. So I took the job. And then a week later, I turn up with my airbag, I put the airbag down, and I go inside the tower and climb up there. And then I look over the edge, and it turned out to be 100 feet. And I went wow, that's a lot more than 60 feet that I've done until now. And my heart started pounding, and I went I'm not going to do it because this is crazy, I'm going to kill myself because I'm looking down in this big airbag, which was 24 by 18 feet, looked like a stamp on the ground from up there. And I went and on top of that, the wind was blowing and it was moving. So my friend goes are you okay? And I said, no, not really, because I think I'm going to hurt myself. And he said, well, then don't do it. And I said, I have to do it because they paid me. And I said, yes. So I got to do it. And there's 50,000 people watching it. The TV stations are there filming it. And, I got to go. I got to do it. So then they called me on the radio and they said, are you ready? And I said, not really, but let me know when you want me to go. And they said, okay, well, 5 minutes and then we're ready for you. So I'm sitting up there and behind this wall that I looked over, and I'm sitting behind there shaking like hell. And I go to my friend and I said, you know what? Give this, and I wrote down my bank account number. Give this to my girlfriend because then she can get the money out of the bank. The airbag, give that to some guys in England, and you take my car, and I started giving everybody stuff. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I may hurt myself, but worst case scenario, I kill myself. And he went like, are you crazy? And I went, no, I got to do it because I promised these people that I would do it. I got the money already, so, I can't say no. Anyway, so then they called and they said, like, are you ready? And I went like, yeah. So I climbed up on this wall, which was a feet wide, and I started pacing up and down. And suddenly I went like, I'll be fine. And my heartbeat was getting back to normal. I was not sweating like crazy anymore. And they said, are you ready? I said, yeah, call it. And then when they said, and action, I did my fall, landed in the airbag, got off it, and I was fine. But what it did teach me is like never go unprepared into a job. Like I should have been up in that tower to watch down, and if I knew that 100 feet is a lot more than 60 feet, if I would have known that then I would have gone to another place to practice going to the 100 feet and do that by steps. Start at 60 feet, go to 70, go 80, go 90, and gradually work your way up to 100. I had to jump from 60 to 100, and that was like stupid. But again, like that's why I'm still here right now, because other than that, I've never had any injuries that are, I had a twisted ankle and a torn ligament in my shoulder. That's it, over a period of 45 years of doing stunts. And I think it's mainly because of that day when I did something stupid and I took a job that I wasn't prepared for. But yeah, I was really proud that I actually did it.
Tell the folks how many films you've done stunt work in.
About 150. Actually more, but there's a lot of films that I don't want credit for because they were so bad.
But we're almost out of time. But if you had a really quick stunt question or stunt answer.
Well, to me, my favorite stunt work, because my specialty, my top specialty is driving and motorcycles. And whenever it's something has to do with cars and or motorcycles, and that's basically my favorite day of work.
Yeah, you drive too. Actually, you're a big driver too, aren't you?
Well, yes, I started with driving because I used to race cars, but I'm an all-rounder. I do just about anything. The only thing I don't like to work with is children and animals.
That's what they say in Hollywood. Don't work with
because
children.
Because animals have a brain. They sometimes do what they want to do.
Right.
And so those are the two things that I stay away from. Other than that, I fly. I do helicopters. I do airplanes. I do boats. I drive tanks. That's another one that a lot of people don't do, which I think is actually funny. It's like it's a thrill to drive a tank.
I've driven a tank before.
Oh,
not a tank, because a tank technically is a certain kind of way. But I've driven tracked vehicles in the Army.
Yeah, no, I love those.
But I haven't officially driven a tank, because a tank has a big cannon in front.
Yeah.
But I want to thank the you three Fets for coming. This was a great panel. This was my first panel here in Dallas, so thanks for my inaugural opening in Star Wars paneling here. But you guys are going to be here for the remainder of the weekend, so make sure to go down to the Autograph Hall to meet these guys. And again, I want to thank you very much, and thank you guys for attending. All right.
Thank you.